This is the Anytime, Anywhere podcast where you're liable to hear anything at any given time. Welcome back or welcome to, if this is your first time tuning in, I am Jaleesa Kayla. Welcome to my podcast. Y'all, it's been a minute. I definitely missed posting and I also missed recording. But most importantly, I've missed posting. And when I say I've missed posting, I missed this past Saturday because this past Saturday was my birthday. Yay! Shout out to me, Miss 1122. Y'all, I had a really, really great birthday. I basically manifested the energy that I wanted to experience during my birthday and the activities. Now, I didn't get to partake in every single thing that I, had set out to do. However, overall, what I put out into the atmosphere was just that regardless of what I get to do and don't get to do, that my birthday is successful. I'm surrounded around love. I'm taking it easy. Y'all, there were so many surprises, twists, and turns, okay? It was such a great, great birthday. I'm not going to say I'm saddened that it's over. It was just it was such a great energy that, I wish I could just still be in that moment. And I still am, for the most part. I was telling one of my sisters, how I was still, coming down off the high, but at the same time, now that I think about it, it's why do I have to come down, So I plan on carrying that energy into, the rest of the year and into the quote-unquote new year. But how are y'all? How are y'all doing? How was your weekend? What did you do? I'll probably post a picture of my outfit, y'all, because so my plan was for everyone to come out, have a really lit and fun-filled time. But the theme was that everyone had to pick a decade to, center their outfits around. And then we just pop out. Of course, me. Your girl did Y2K. Well, y'all don't know me, but I did Y2K, okay? Because the little girl in me is just proud of the adult me. And back when the Y2K, era was alive and thriving, although it's being, rebranded, rebirthed, and brought back to life and, paid its reverence, which I was doing. I was paying reverence to a time where I wish I was grown. Now, I didn't wish I was grown too much when I was a kid because I had a lot of responsibility, right? When I was a child, I had a lot on my plate. I was responsible for a lot. I'm the oldest of 6. However, when it came to the fashions and the music and the dancing and being out at the club, listen, that's what it was giving. Early 2000s at the club, you sweating, Nelly is getting hot in here. I was the one with the sweat dripping all over her body. That's what it was giving, and that's the time I had, and it was such a great time. I had family members who chose the 90s era and the 80s, late 80s, early 90s era. Then, me and one of my sisters did Y2K, and then another sister and her friend did the hipster swag, you a jerk. Riding down the street and I see a pretty girl. She wants me, I want her. I will take her to my room. I'm in my car. Listen, the shit was fucking lit, okay? I can't say it enough. I had such a good time and I really appreciated everyone. I don't want to say going above and beyond, but for me, it was going above and beyond to show up and to get into, character and just really be present for me for my birthday. So it was such a gift, and I had a really good cake, really, really, really good cake. Yeah, and I just polished. I didn't finish it. I'm gonna be having cake all week. I shared a lot and I still have a good bit of cake left over, so I'm gonna be polishing off my cake and finishing off my wine because I had loads and loads of wine. I also did a create your own fragrance y'all. I had so much fun. I had yummy foods. I didn't go everywhere I wanted to, and I didn't have all the foods that I imagined myself having, However, what I did have was very enjoyable. Like, the time I spent with my loved ones and also by myself was really good. Like, I had a spa day. The spa day is a whole nother like topic and experience, and I think I'm going to talk more about that on YouTube. Well, not YouTube, but TikTok. That's what I meant to say. 33. But y'all, like, I just had such a really good time. Like, I can't say it enough how much how much fun I had, how good of a time I had. And although I didn't want the night to be over, by the time we, settled in, it was dawn. Okay, it was like 5 something in the morning. So it was like, all right, girl, you all right, you good, whatever. We don't need to, But listen, I had a really good time, and once more, I just want to thank everybody who wished me, a happy birthday. I saw some people that I hadn't seen since my childhood. Like, the gifts and the different words of encouragement and just well wishes that I received for my birthday were unmatched and top tier this year. And I always feel good about my birthday. However, this birthday was just a really, really special one. All my birthdays are always so special, but this one was really special. Like, I feel a new energy, that Scorpio energy, that Sage energy. Listen, they can't take you, girl. They can, but they can't, like, all at the same time, honey. But yeah, I hope you all had a really, really, really good weekend. We got the holidays coming up, which I'm not really worried about. I mean, of course, I want some good food for Thanksgiving. However, like I mentioned before, like, I'm denouncing the holidays and not really, I'm not going to say not really. I don't celebrate the holidays. If any holiday I celebrate, it's my birthday. Okay? Been saying that. It's nothing new. Only those who know me know that that's how I feel. But yeah, and normally I would celebrate my birthday the whole month of November, and sometimes I take it into December because there's no disrespect to the December babies. However, that's just how I feel about myself and my time, and the habit of just not only celebrating yourself on your actual day, but just every day. Nobody knows what it takes to be you. Nobody knows the sacrifices you've made to still remain here in this realm. And not only just be here, because you can be here and be experiencing, a miserable... You can be experiencing really challenging, trying, and miserable times. And it's not to say that challenges won't come, right? However, with growth and expansion and opening yourself up and just continuing to do the inner work. Like, I was journaling yesterday and it just started flowing how, I'm someone who really enjoys going within. Like, I learn from doing the inner work, you know what I'm saying? And I also learn from watching others too. However, there's like this even balance. There's an even balance, right? Of me learning from myself and my own experiences, and also learning from the world and the individuals around me that I come in contact with. However, I think my growth leans a little bit more towards me going within self. Like, I learn from all areas of life, from others, from their mistakes, from things I've experienced with others, jointly. But I greatly learn and have been able to transform and alchemize a lot of my experience in this lifetime by going within, taking note of my mental and emotional state, and just learning from life lessons and making sense of the things that I currently experience and feel emotionally, and the things from the past. A lot of times we feel like things that happen to us tragically are there to break us, and partly I feel like I could see that, and I was once someone who believed that, and it only will break you if you allow it to, if you stop trying. Like, I know it sounds cliche, but you cannot give up, okay? Because the opposing forces, that's what, it's really a test. You're being tested every day. We go to school, we go to elementary, middle school, high school, college, graduate school. Listen, fuck any test, any certificate, any diploma you could get from graduating from those schools in this realm. The school of life, the graduation from your old self, not forgetting or demonizing or diminishing who you used to be, who you once were, but integrating all parts in every lesson that you've learned every step of the way, turning that knowledge into wisdom. That was something I also wrote down last night. Like, that's one of my superpowers, turning that knowledge that I gained from looking within and being aware of my experiences and how I'm feeling in the moment, and just being empathetic. I was made to believe that being sensitive and highly intuitive and empathetic was a burden, and it was just that many people didn't have the capacity to hold space for me and what I needed, being a very empathetic person, being someone who feels deeply and feels a lot and feels often, and with that, as a child, if you never learn how to harness that, it does seem like it's a burden. It can get out of control. So just learning from those experiences and becoming an adult and taking my life into my own hands. And I'm not going to act like, I'm still like, I feel it's already a given that until you leave this realm, you're going to forever be learning, right? If you allow yourself to, that's what I'm choosing for myself. I'm going to forever be learning. And I find joy in learning. And I find joy in going to the depths of whatever topic I'm learning about. And most importantly, it's normally centered around self, not in a selfish way, but just in a way where I'm learning more about myself and going within, and it helps me better understand the world around me. It helps me understand individuals, and then I have that other superpower to be able to give compassion, have boundaries. That's something else I had to learn. However, within those boundaries, I can still show compassion without sacrificing myself, without sacrificing all the work that I've done, and the time that I've spent on myself and going deep within. You never want to sacrifice the work that you've done to get where you are, just to appease others, or for the sake of being kind and loving and compassionate. Listen, they always say, what would Jesus do? Listen, there's so many Jesuses, okay? So many enlightened ones, so many people who carry the gift of being able to be compassionate, of being empathetic, of being, sympathetic and reasoning with others and feeling what others may feel, even if they've never, gone through it or dealt with it. Because I always used to say, before I knew what empathy was in totality, like coming up as a kid and a teenager and a young adult, I always used to say to people, I don't understand why other individuals have to go through something in order to feel, or in order to understand, or in order to, show a certain type of compassion or love to other individuals, But now I understand that, hey, everyone doesn't have that superpower, that gift, and it's unfortunate. But however, we all have different journeys and walks in life. We're all gifted with, something special. That's that beef sausage. Like, I can't even talk beef sausage, egg and cheese. Though that shit was busting. But and my tea. But yeah, like a lot of people. Well, I'm not gonna say a lot. There's groups of individuals who don't have that superpower, and something that I was once, like I said, led to believe was a burden, and I wanted to wish it away, and I kind of despised and once thought I hated being so overly empathetic, being so in tune with my emotions, being able to cry and be vulnerable and go there with myself, and not only myself but with others as well, and being able to see others and hold space and compassion for them. But a lot of times I did it, like I said, while sacrificing a lot of who I was and what I was, and I silenced myself until, again, I started to learn, and I got tired of repeating certain lessons and things. So, like I said, with the energy of my birthday and the Scorpio New Moon, and, you know, it was transitioning to Sagittarius, like, there were so many different downloads that I received, so much energy that could have been draining and could have felt like extreme challenges, but for me it was like my time to thrive, and I thrive in renewal. I thrive in death and rebirth. You know, it's not anything that I need to look at as a challenge that I can't overcome anymore. You know, it's an imperative part of my journey and my life. You know, anytime I'm holding myself back from allowing things that I cannot control to die off, I'm doing myself a disservice. Anytime, you know, I'm trying to protect myself by being in control of things that I can't be. Listen, I'm doing myself a disservice. You have to know when to let go, to breathe, to affirm that you're well and things will be well. And, you know, one, you're not going to be put to the test of anything that you can't overcome. Two, there's nothing wrong with letting go of control. To all my Scorpios out there, and even if you're not a Scorpio, if you're just someone who's in a space where you like to control because that's where you feel you're safest, trust me, I understand. I get it, okay? But you have to let go to allow things to naturally unfold, to allow things to naturally die off. Just like I mentioned in another episode. I'm not sure if I released it or not. I feel like I did, though. Like with the trees, you know, that divine flow that humans have with nature. And I chose the trees to study, which was, you know, they have their seasons. And they know that if they don't allow the wind to do what the wind does, which is help and assist to shake off the dead leaves and, you know, the buddings that need to be removed in order to preserve the energy that they need to start to regenerate, so that when the spring and the summertime comes for the next, you know, year, the leaves will be thriving, they'll be, you know, fruitful, whatever type of tree it is. It could be a maple tree, it could be an apple tree, it could be any of that. Like, it needs to let go of what's dead and weighing it down, so that the newfound fruits and leaves and, you know, budding can be even greater than the last batch was, you know. And that's just, and it keeps getting stronger and stronger, and each season that the leaves fall away and come back the following, you know, growing season, again, they're more vibrant, they're more stronger. The tree has time to relax during hibernation. It's not being pulled in so many different directions, trying to control. Like, what if the trees never wanted to let go of their dead leaves? First of all, not only would it not look, you know, aesthetically pleasing, the tree would probably freaking die, you know? Holding on to what's dead, not allowing space for what's new. We're the same. You have to let go of what no longer serves you in order to expand and to grow. You have to stretch, you know. Think about babies. When they're young, that's all they do is eat, sleep, poop, and stretch. Like, and I heard something where they said babies cry a lot because, you know, different neurons and things are firing off, and their insides are growing and expanding, and sometimes that growth can be painful. You know, it's new. You're being stretched beyond your physical form, your spiritual form, you know, in this lifetime. Listen, I'm just a wee little baby, okay, who was born on 11/22, and I love myself. I love my journey. I love the expression of my soul and my spirit in this lifetime, and I'm just so grateful for the work I've been able to do, and I've been gifted with the ability to expand and grow. And, you know, having my benevolent ancestors and my benevolent spiritual team and the energy of the Most High Mother and Father, the Great Spirit that allows for all of this to take place, that allowed for my ancestors that came before me and my foremothers and forefathers that came before me to do the work necessary to bring me into this world, you know, and to allow certain things to transpire, which led me, essentially to this journey. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else doing anything else. And sometimes we can wish our way and think our way into wanting life to be different. However, like, once you really gain an understanding of yourself and the journey, like, it just becomes that much more sweeter. Like a nice little Palo Santo, I did like that this morning. But yeah, I didn't want anything, y'all. I didn't even fully go into detail about my birthday, but I feel like I gave enough. Like, I just know your girl had a really good time. I'm excited for what's to come. Just letting go of old paradigms and old ideals of who I needed to be and had to be in order to survive. And now it's time to thrive. Like, we're not just surviving, okay? Life is about so much more than survival. Like, being in survival mode can hinder a lot of creativity because you're just looking to make it from moment to moment, day to day, week to week. So much more to experience and be and do in this lifetime versus just survive. It is survival of the fittest, and that's why it's important not to give up. Are you fit for this? Prove and you're fit for it. You are. Whoever you are listening, you are. If you're here, you're meant to be here, and you're meant to thrive. You're not meant to just survive, and you're fit for it. You would not have been created if that was not true. That's what I believe. Because for the life of me, for so long, I kept telling myself, there's no way I was born and bred to experience trauma after trauma, pain after pain, with little bouts of excitement and adventure and fun here and there. Like, no, it's no way. I'm too lit of a person. I'm too good of a person, and not because I'm trying to be liked or loved. That's just the heart that I was gifted with. I was gifted with the heart of gold. I was gifted with the pure energy. I was gifted with the sacred power to, again, feel. To heal myself. Like, that's a fucking superpower, yo. Like, being able to heal yourself? X-Men. Huh? Okay? Okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't just put here to please others and, do what society says is best. And neither were you. You're not just put here to make it from moment to moment, to worry, to live in pain, to live in fear, to, be something you're not and not thrive in your fullness in everything you are. You're worthy. I'm worthy. We're worthy, of celebration, of togetherness, of genuine love, of genuine enjoyment and happiness and peace, even through the challenges. The challenges take you to the bank. You know what I'm saying? You can build a bag and blow a bag when it comes to challenges, because it's all about how you going to stretch. How far can you be stretched in a direction that's about growth, not to be stretched to where you're burnt out, So you have to just take it one moment at a time, pace yourself, but also don't give up. Again, that's what the opposing powers that were want you to do. We ain't doing that. We that ship has sailed. If we was gonna give up, we would have gave up a long time ago, right? Right? Right. So just keep that at the front of your mind. Like I said, if you are someone who's in this moment, who this energy is whip it right. So whip it, baby. Whip it all night. If you feel like this energy is whipping your ass, please just woosah. Let go of control. It may be new, it may be scary, the unknown of, if I let go here, how will things be? How will things look? How will I feel? You won't know until you let go. But trust that it's for the betterment, It may not seem like it. It may not seem like it at first, but just know it's for the greater good, right? You're not letting go of anything, or anything is not being taken away from you that is meant to be with you. Because if so, it would remain without you holding on for dear life. All right, so The first step is realizing and letting go. Control what you can, but let go. Expand yourself, expand your philosophies, your values, your morals on what's important, what's best for you. And in tune, you'll be able to not only help yourself, but you'll be able to join and help the collective. And you'll be able to lead by example and guide others by example of what it looks like to thrive and to be renewed and restored. Half the time it'll be done in the face of the opposing energy that didn't want you to thrive. And they'll be like, damn, how is this how this mother don't miss, like, at all. Even when you thought I missed, even when I thought I missed, like, I didn't. I made it. Like, I made the bucket the whole time. It was just on a rebound, It was a future dunk. It was a future 3-pointer that I hit when I took that L, or when you thought you took the L. Is not a loss. The L was a lesson. That was the L I took. You thought I took a loss. The whole time I took an L, but the L was a lesson. Yeah? Okay. I'm gonna end it there. I'm just so excited to be recording again, and I think I'm going to post this episode tomorrow, which is for Where You At Wednesday. Today is Tune In Tuesday. I didn't even say that for y'all, but it's fitting, the topics that I was touching on and just the work that I've been doing. I'm never going to stop tuning into self, right? But again, like, just experiencing the energy that I did for my birthday and just recounting and talking to you all about it. That was just a tune-in moment. Tuning in yesterday, doing some journaling, and just ending that energy with, again, just some reflection and just being grateful. You got to stay in, as much as possible, stay in a space of gratitude, regardless of what's going on, because things could always be much worse. And hey, you breathing is grace. It's grace, And I know it may sound cliche, and people be like, I don't want to breathe. I want to be taken out of here. Listen, I was there at one point too, but that was only because I couldn't, in this moment, realize who I was. I didn't deem myself worthy. I couldn't understand why I was going through the things that I was going through and experiencing things that I was experiencing. But it was calling for me to level up. It was calling for me to do more work. It was calling for me to expand on the work that I had already been doing, I had always been doing the work. However, once you reach a certain plateau, that's not it. You got to keep going. You got to keep building that muscle, or at least maintain the muscle. Before you build more and more and more, maintain the muscle that you already got. So that way, when it is time to level up, we good. We not starting back from zero. And if you are, that's okay. As long as you don't give up. Fuck how many times you got to start over. Okay? Forget how many times you got to be renewed. How many times you have to be restored. That's a superpower. The fact that you can do that. The fact that you are gifted with a soul. With a spirit that can be renewed, can be restored. Our different organs and body parts restore themselves at different, in different intervals. Listen, we are walking, breathing miracles, manifestations, superpowers, like magic. You are magic.
Voila, magic. Voila, magic.
Hey, please. But I just want to leave everybody with that. Thank you all for tuning in and listening and just being here with your girl. Like, we're almost at our goal. I'm not going to say of what, but with this podcast, I'm so close to my goal. And before this year is out, like, I'm already there, basically. So I'm just so proud of the work that I've been doing. I'm proud of the work that you've been doing collectively. Like, there's many of us out here who have been doing the work, and it just looks so beautiful, and I'm so grateful to experience it, not with only in myself, but to see it on others, because when other people thrive, it's knocking on my door too. Like, when your neighbor is doing well, it's in close proximity, so that means it's possible for you too. And not only is it possible, if you allow certain things to take place, it's for sure going to happen for you. You know, just don't be a hater. The Scorpio in me had to tell you, don't be a fucking hater. Okay. But the optimistic Sagittarius in me is saying, if you're listening to this, I know you're not a hater. You know, I know you're not someone who carries negative energy. And I appreciate you so much for staying genuine and true in a world where it's so easy to be negative. It's so easy to be a hater. You know, it's so easy to be envious of others and the work they have done versus taking, you know, the jealousy you possibly may feel, or being inspired by the work that others have done and knowing that it's possible for you too, you know. But I love y'all. I love myself. Thank you for liking, subscribing, for leaving a comment. Just let me know. First of all, leave a comment and tell me happy birthday. Okay? Give it. I'm still accepting gifts. I'm still accepting well wishes. Tell me happy birthday, okay? And not for nothing, when I was out, y'all, the best thing happened. This girl sung me happy birthday. I've never had a stranger, at least I don't think so. I've never had somebody, from what I can remember, sing me happy birthday, and she could blow. Like, I love shout out to the girls that be in the bathrooms just having a key and complimenting each other and having a good time and spreading positive energy. Listen, that was a time, y'all. She sung me freaking happy birthday and she could blow. Like, she was so beautiful. Thank you. If you're listening to this, or if you ever listen to this, I remember you had on all black. You were very pretty. You were with your friend that had the blue shortcut, right? And I was the birthday girl with the Mickey and Minnie spray painted jacket with the pink fur. Listen, when I say Y2K, I have to post a picture so y'all can understand what was going on. Like, it was such a really good time. And like I said, the kid in me is like, the kid in me thinks that the adult me is so fucking cool and so hot and such a it girl. Okay, and we did that. We had the best birthday and we really did that shit. So, okay. But thank you all once again. I'm really leaving this time. Thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, hyping this video up if it's an option for you to do so. And most importantly, if you do nothing else after you like, share, comment, subscribe, be sure to love yourself always and always, y'all. Like, I'm telling you, it's the best thing you could ever do in this lifetime. And it's one of the most important things, if not the most important thing that you could do in this lifetime, is to love yourself always and always through every phase of life, okay? And I will chat with you guys in my next episode. Shout out to my Scorpio. Shout out to the Sagittarius. And it's Miss 1122 signing off. Bye, you guys. Mwah.